Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at learning management systems, or LMSs for short.
Okay.
And we found this great video by Paradiso Learning that gives a really solid overview.
Nice.
But before we get into the super specifics, I want to set the stage a little bit.
Sure.
Imagine, a company trying to train hundreds of employees,
Okay.
but they're scattered all over the world.
Yeah.
Different learning styles, different schedules.
Yeah.
Picture a system that can not only deliver the training,
Uh-huh.
but track their progress, offer personalized feedback,
Oh, wow.
and even predict who might need some extra support.
That's cool.
That's the power of a well-designed LMS.
Sure.
So what is an LMS? What exactly is it?
I think it's more than just a digital platform.
Okay.
It's really like an entire ecosystem for managing every aspect of learning.
Yeah.
Think of it like a command center, where you can create and deliver your courses, manage your users,
Right.
track progress, and generate reports.
All in one place.
Yep, all in one place.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal here.
Yeah.
The video mentions companies using LMSs for everything.
Uh-huh.
From onboarding new employees to training sales teams.
Right.
But how does that actually play out in the real world? Give me an example.
Okay, so let's say you're a new employee, and you're starting at a company that uses an LMS for onboarding.
Right.
Instead of being bombarded with this huge stack of manuals and presentations, you log into the LMS.
Okay.
And you find all these interactive modules, videos,
Nice.
even quizzes.
So it's more engaging.
Way more engaging, makes it fun to learn about the company, policies and procedures.
Yeah.
And your manager can see how you're doing and offer support because the LMS tracks your progress.
So it's good for everybody.
Exactly.
That sounds a lot more effective than the old school death by PowerPoint method.
Absolutely.
But wouldn't that require a ton of work on the company's end
Right.
to create all that content and manage the system and everything?
That's where the 5 core modules of an LMS come in.
Okay.
They provide the structure and the tools to really streamline and automate a lot of those tasks.
5 core modules, all right?
Yeah.
Let's break them down.
Okay.
The video starts with user management.
Yep.
What's the big deal about that?
It's all about who has access to what. Like a digital gatekeeper,
Okay.
making sure the right people have access to the right information and tools.
Makes sense.
Think about it. There's sensitive data involved, employee performance records, learning progress, even personal contact information.
All right, right.
The user management module lets administrators create different roles with specific permissions.
Okay.
Keeps everything nice and organized and secure.
So it's more than just a list of names and emails.
Yeah.
It's about controlling access and protecting data.
Exactly.
Speaking of information, what about the actual courses themselves?
Right.
That's where the course management module comes in.
Exactly. This is where the learning magic happens. It's where you create and store all types of learning materials, from simple text documents and PDFs to engaging videos and interactive simulations.
Wow.
You can even use SCORM files.
SCORM files, what are those?
Essentially, they're standardized packages that allow you to track learner progress within the interactive content.
So it's not just about passive learning.
Yeah.
You can actually build in interactivity and assessments and stuff.
Absolutely. Think of it like a choose-your-own-adventure book,
Okay.
where the path you take depends on your choices and responses.
I like that.
SCORM files allow you to create that level of engagement
Okay.
within the LMS.
Making learning more dynamic and personalized.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see how an LMS can be more than just a digital repository for those boring training manuals.
Yeah.
You can actually create a really engaging learning experience.
Right.
But how do you know if people are actually learning anything?
Good question.
That's where the reporting module comes in, right? Yeah.
Precisely. The reporting module is all about measuring the impact of that learning.
Okay.
It allows you to track course completion rates, assessment scores, and even learner engagement.
So you can actually see if people are, paying attention and learning.
Exactly. And this data is gold
Yeah.
for instructors and organizations
Right.
because it helps them understand what's working, what needs improvement, and how to tailor that learning experience to their specific needs.
So it's like having a dashboard for your learning program.
That's a great way to put it.
You can see who's excelling, who's struggling, and where you need to make adjustments.
Right.
But what about the people managing all this? I imagine it takes a whole village to run an LMS.
You're right. It's not a one-person show. That's where the roles management module comes in.
Okay.
It allows you to assign different roles and permissions to
Yeah.
users,
Right.
ensuring that everyone has the appropriate level of access.
Makes sense.
You might have administrators who manage the system, instructors who create and deliver those courses, and students who are there to learn.
Right. Different roles for different folks.
Exactly.
That makes sense. It's like assigning different roles in a video game,
That's a great analogy.
each with their own abilities and limitations.
I like that.
And finally, we have the student module.
Yep.
What does that entail?
The student module is all about the learner's experience.
Okay.
It's their personalized dashboard where they can access their courses, track their own progress,
Right.
view their grades, and even connect with other learners.
So it's kind of like a personalized learning portal for each student.
Exactly.
They can see everything that's relevant to their learning journey all in one place.
All in one place.
I'm starting to see how these 5 modules really work together to create this comprehensive learning ecosystem.
It is.
But I'm curious, what about the future of LMSs?
Right.
The video mentions some pretty advanced features like gamification, social learning, and even artificial intelligence.
Yeah, it's getting really interesting.
What does all that mean for the way we learn and work?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one we'll explore in more depth in the next part of our deep dive.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to think about how LMSs are going beyond like those core functions.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing this real shift towards incorporating those elements that make learning not just effective, but engaging, you know.
Okay. I have to admit, the word gamification always makes me think of those cheesy point systems they try to use in school. Does that really work in like a professional setting?
It's not about just like slapping on some badges and leaderboards and calling it a day.
Right.
Done right. Gamification taps into those psychological triggers that motivate us.
Yeah.
Things like competition, achievement,
Okay.
even just curiosity.
So instead of feeling like I'm being forced to learn something, it feels more like I'm like leveling up in a game.
Exactly. And that can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to topics that might not be inherently exciting.
Okay.
Plus, when an LMS has social learning features built in.
Wait, hold on. Social learning?
Yeah.
Like making friends with my coworkers while we're both supposed to be studying?
Okay, whoa.
Is that really a good idea?
Think of it less like casual socializing and more like a study group, but online and integrated with the learning materials.
Right.
Imagine you can ask questions, share insights, even debate different approaches with people taking the same course.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that could be really valuable.
Right.
Especially if you're learning something complex. You can bounce ideas off of each other. Get different perspectives.
Exactly.
But you mentioned AI earlier.
Yes.
What role does that play in all of this?
This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
We're just starting to scratch the surface of what AI can do in the world of learning. Imagine an LMS that can analyze your learning patterns.
Right.
Identify your strengths and weaknesses.
Wow.
And then tailor the content and pacing to your specific needs.
So no more one-size-fits-all courses.
Right.
Everyone gets a truly personalized experience.
That's the vision.
Wow.
And AI can also play a role in things like automated feedback, even creating personalized learning paths.
Now that sounds amazing.
It is.
But I can't help but think about the potential downsides.
Sure.
What about data privacy concerns?
Right.
If the LMS is tracking my every move and learning style, is that information being used ethically?
You've hit on a crucial point.
Okay.
As LMSs become more sophisticated, those ethical considerations become even more important.
Okay.
It's vital for learners to have transparency about what data is being collected and how it's being used.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about how it's implemented and the policies that are in place to protect learners.
It is.
And it's also about recognizing that technology is a tool.
Yes.
Not a replacement for human interaction.
Absolutely.
Even the most advanced LMS still needs skilled instructors to create engaging content, facilitate discussions, and provide that human element that's so essential for learning.
It's absolutely right.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in all the cool features.
I know.
And forget that at the end of the day, learning is still a very human process.
It is a human process.
Absolutely. And I think that's something to keep in mind as we think about the future of LMSs.
Right.
It's not about replacing teachers or making learning impersonal.
Right.
It's about finding ways to use technology to enhance that learning experience and make it more accessible, engaging, and effective.
You got it.
Okay, so we've talked about the core modules,
Yes.
the exciting new features,
Right.
and the ethical considerations. But how does all of this translate into real-world impact?
Sure.
What difference are LMSs actually making in businesses and organizations?
Well, for starters, they're streamlining training and development processes in a major way.
How so?
Think about all the time and resources companies used to spend on in-person training sessions, travel, printed materials.
Yeah.
All of that can be significantly reduced with an LMS.
So it saves money?
Saves money, saves time.
Right.
It's more efficient.
And it's not just about cost savings, is it?
No.
It's about efficiency and flexibility.
Absolutely.
Employees can learn at their own pace, on their own schedule.
Yeah.
From anywhere in the world.
Anywhere.
And because LMSs can track progress and generate detailed reports, companies can actually measure the effectiveness of their training programs.
That's right.
They can see who's mastering the material, who needs extra support, and how the training is impacting performance.
Exactly.
So it's not just about delivering information. It's about actually making sure that learning translates into real-world results.
It is.
That's a huge shift from the old way of doing things.
It is a big shift.
And it goes beyond just internal training.
Yes, it does.
Companies are using LMSs to onboard new clients, educate partners, even train customers on how to use their products.
Exactly.
Wait, customer training through an LMS?
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
It is.
Does that work?
Okay, imagine you're a software company.
Right.
Instead of relying on lengthy user manuals or clunky help videos, you create an interactive course within your LMS that walks customers through the key features and functionalities of your product.
So instead of feeling frustrated and lost, customers feel empowered and knowledgeable.
Exactly.
That could be a game changer for customer satisfaction.
Absolutely.
It's all about creating a seamless and positive experience for everyone involved, whether it's employees, partners, or customers.
You got it.
Okay, I'm seeing the big picture here.
Good.
LMSs are impacting not just how we learn, but how we work, how we connect, even how we do business.
It's changing everything.
And the best part is this is still just the beginning.
It is.
As technology continues to evolve, the possibilities for LMSs are truly endless.
They are endless.
That's both exciting and a little bit daunting.
I know, right?
But I have to ask, are there any potential downsides to all of this?
Well, as with any powerful tool, there are always potential pitfalls to consider.
Right.
One concern is the risk of becoming overly reliant on technology at the expense of human interaction.
You're talking about that balance we mentioned earlier, making sure that technology enhances rather than replaces the human element of learning.
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in all the bells and whistles of an LMS and forget that learning is a social process.
Right.
We need to be mindful of creating opportunities for collaboration, discussion, and mentorship, even within a digital environment.
So it's not just about clicking through modules and taking quizzes.
Right.
It's about fostering a sense of community and connection among learners.
I agree.
Another potential challenge is the issue of accessibility.
Right.
Not everyone has equal access to technology or reliable internet. If we're not careful, LMSs could inadvertently widen the digital divide and exclude certain populations from learning opportunities.
That's a good point.
That's a crucial point.
It is.
We need to ensure that LMS implementations are inclusive and designed with accessibility in mind.
Absolutely.
And of course, there's always the risk of data breaches and privacy violations as LMSs collect more and more data about learners. It's essential to have robust security measures in place and clear policies around data usage and protection.
Absolutely.
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the ethical considerations, the human element, and the broader societal impact. These are all things we need to keep in mind as we navigate the world of LMSs.
Absolutely. It's about using this powerful tool responsibly and thoughtfully to create a more equitable and engaging learning experience for everyone.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to the video for a moment.
Okay.
It ends with this thought-provoking question that I'd love to get your take on.
Okay.
With technology evolving so rapidly, how do you think LMSs will change the way we learn and work in the years to come?
That's a big question.
It is.
But one that's worth exploring.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see even more personalization and customization in learning experiences. AI will play a bigger role in tailoring content, providing feedback, and even guiding learners on personalized learning paths.
So it's like having a virtual tutor that knows your strengths, weaknesses, and learning style.
Exactly.
Wow.
And I think we'll also see a blurring of the lines between formal and informal learning. LMSs will become more integrated into our daily lives, providing access to learning opportunities on demand. Whenever and wherever we need them.
That sounds like a future where learning is truly lifelong.
Yes.
And integrated into everything we do.
It really does.
And I think it's a future where learning becomes more engaging, more accessible, and ultimately more effective.
Absolutely.
That's an exciting vision.
It is.
But before we get too carried away with the future,
I
want to bring it back to the present for our listeners.
Right.
What are some key takeaways they should consider as they navigate the world of LMSs?
Well, first and foremost, remember that an LMS is a tool, not a magic bullet.
Right.
It's only as effective as the people who use it and the content that's delivered through it.
So it's not about just choosing the fanciest platform.
Or the one with the most bells and whistles.
Exactly.
It's about finding the right LMS for your specific needs and using it strategically to achieve your learning goals.
I agree.
Another key takeaway is to embrace the power of data.
Yes, the data.
LMSs provide a wealth of information about learner behavior and performance.
That's right.
Use this data to understand what's working, what needs improvement, and how to personalize the learning experience. So it's not just about delivering content. It's about using data to continuously improve that learning process.
You got it.
And finally, don't forget the human element.
Right.
Technology can enhance and augment human interaction.
Yes.
But it should never replace it entirely.
I agree.
Create opportunities for collaboration, discussion, and mentorship within your LMS to foster a sense of community and connection among learners.
That's a great point to end on.
It is. It's about finding that balance.
Between technology and human interaction to create a truly effective and engaging learning experience.
Absolutely.
Remember at the beginning of this deep dive when we were talking about that company? Struggling to train employees all over the world? Well, imagine that same company, but now equipped with an LMS that adapts to each employee's learning pace, provides personalized feedback, and even predicts who might need extra help.
It paints a very different picture, doesn't it?
It does.
Suddenly, what felt overwhelming becomes manageable, even exciting. That's the potential of LMSs.
And it's not just about training, right?
No.
It's about creating a culture of continuous learning within an organization.
Precisely. An LMS can be a central hub for professional development, giving employees access to a library of resources, courses, and even mentorship opportunities.
Wow.
It can empower them to take ownership of their growth and stay ahead of the curve in their fields.
And as technology continues to evolve, who knows what new possibilities will emerge.
Exactly.
We've already talked about AI and personalization, but what about virtual reality? Could we see a future where employees are learning new skills?
Potential.
By immersing themselves in simulated work environments?
It's definitely within the realm of possibility.
Wow.
Imagine a sales team practicing their pitches in a virtual reality setting. Or a surgeon learning a new procedure through a VR simulation.
Oh, wow.
The potential for hands-on experiential learning is huge.
It's blown my mind a little bit.
I know, right?
But let's bring it back down to earth for a moment. For our listeners who are maybe just starting to explore the world of LMSs, what advice would you give them? Where should they begin?
I think the first step is to clearly define your learning goals and needs. What are you hoping to achieve with an LMS? What are the specific challenges you're facing in your current training or development processes?
So don't just jump on the bandwagon because everyone else is using an LMS.
Exactly.
take the time to figure out what you actually need and how an LMS can help you achieve it.
I agree.
Once you have a good understanding of your needs, you can start researching different LMS platforms and comparing their features, pricing, and ease of use.
Yep, there are a lot of options out there.
Yeah.
So it's important to find one that aligns with your specific requirements and budget.
And don't be afraid to ask for demos or trials from different providers.
Definitely.
You want to make sure the platform is intuitive and user-friendly, both for the administrators who will be managing it and the learners who will be using it.
Exactly.
I think it's also important to involve stakeholders from across the organization in the selection process.
Get input from instructors, learners, IT, even leadership. The more buy-in you have from the start, the more successful your LMS implementation will be.
That makes sense. You want everyone to feel like they're part of the process.
Yes.
And invested in the outcome.
Absolutely.
And finally, don't underestimate the importance of ongoing support and training.
That's important.
Implementing an LMS is just the first step.
It is.
You need to provide adequate training for both administrators and learners. And you need to have a plan in place for ongoing support and maintenance.
It's like buying a new car. You wouldn't just drive it off the lot.
Exactly.
Without knowing how to operate it or where to get it serviced.
That's a great analogy.
An LMS is an investment.
Yeah.
And you need to treat it as such to get the most out of it.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about LMSs.
I think so.
From the basic modules to the future possibilities.
We did it.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
Just this. Don't be afraid to experiment. And embrace the potential of LMSs to transform the way you learn and work. We're living in an era of unprecedented access to knowledge and information.
That's true.
LMSs are powerful tools that can help us navigate this landscape and unlock our full potential.
That's an inspiring message to end on.
Thank you.
So as we leave our listeners to ponder the future of learning, we want to thank you for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
On this deep dive into the world of learning management systems.
Yes, thank you.
We hope you found it insightful and engaging.
I did.
And to our listeners, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning. And keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Love it.
Until next time.
Okay.
Happy learning.